Welcome back, Commander. For the record, this is the last mission in the Covert Ops selection of missions for GDI. I kinda had to restart a bunch of times, so if I if my save games are a little angry again, there's your reason.
I got a present for you. Yo. Yes, sir.
So there's a few things about this level that should be made aware of immediately. One, Commando, and Commando must destroy buildings, which means you're running the risk of him dying to just random stuff. Secondly, is that for the first quarter or third of this edit, you have no base. Let that sink in, I guess.
Yes, sir. You got it. Yes, sir. No problem.
It also, I also discovered something via reading the fact for these levels after this whole thing, and boy, it was a little it was a little annoying to discover. I think this is the second level that I actually had to stop playing for various reasons, and I was just so done with the level that I looked it up. The other one was the Nod campaign getting the nuclear detonator, where I had no specific idea as to what I should do, and well, here we are. So the guide to this level will tell you that you should capture every building you can minus one of the power plants. The reason being is that a power plant, or even an advanced one, does not generate a lot of infantry when sold, or two, enough money when sold. So what you want to do is you want to pop out a couple engineers. I believe the fact says one, but I don't trust them. I go two, and then the fact just says hey, build as many minigunners as you can. Oh hey, I get 3 engineers. Regardless, fact says get as many as you can. Infantry. Hey, there you go. So yeah, in case it looks crazy, this is kind of what you're expected to do.
Unit ready. Building.
Again, however many you can eke out,
Unable to comply. Building in progress. Unable to comply.
do what you can. Obviously, once you're out of power, you're kinda... You can speed up the game if you want, but, I do that enough. Now, the reason we need all this infantry, and the commando, and the engineers, is that there's a base to the bottom right, and we want that base. Oh hey, look, there's a SAM site opened up and shot at the Chinook at some point. We want that base, which means we have to go capture it. The problem is that we have no vehicles.
Yes, sir.
The Nod base has a harvester, which, again, isn't a combat vehicle, but boy howdy, that AI is just really good at driving over everything you love and own. It also has a turret, and that turret just isn't fun, but at least on the plus side, we can kind of sort of divert the attention of the turrets with the minigunners and then just send the commando in. This is also another issue with the Obelisk of Light. On top of all that, the AI also has flamethrowers. And, I mean, you just don't want to be around that.
Yes, sir. I'm on it. Yeah, I'm on it. You got it. Yes, sir. I'm on it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem. Yo. No problem. Keep it right. You got it. Yo.
For the longest time, I was really puzzled, too, because there's very little indication as to what you should do. So I would just be there
Not building.
and I would try to like capture the SAM site. Like I would try to destroy the SAM sites in a specific way on the bottom left corner. It just wouldn't work. And then I would lose all my units. And after losing my units, that flare would pop up. So I wasn't sure if I was doing things right. Like, do I have to blow up the 2 early SAM sites and then lose the commando to generate a Chinook to drop people off at that middle spot so I can then I don't know. It would not click with me. So it was just frustrating.
Ready and waiting. Moving out.
Even here, there's a very real lack of direction. On the plus side, we've got airstrikes,
Building.
so at least that helps.
Not building captured.
Yo, you got it. Yo.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative. Not a problem.
Yes, sir.
Ready and affirmative.
Construction
Yes, sir.
complete. New construction options. Building. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Come on.
Moving out.
New construction options. Building.
There's another issue that creeps up, and that is, how the heck are we supposed to get to the middle? I guess at some point we're either supposed to build or receive a Chinook,
Unit ready.
but
Building.
I mean, here we are still waiting, right?
Moving out.
I mean, at least I can, hoard whatever Tiberium I can and try to work off of that.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Building. Not building captured. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, moving out.
Nothing tells you specifically, but at this point in the mission, Commando is functionally useless.
Affirmative.
Like, the scenario,
Unit ready.
the briefing for this scenario says, like, oh, well, you have a limited time to get in through the back door and capture a base and so on.
Not
And,
building
I mean, it's mostly right.
captured. Unit
But realistically, like, there's nothing, that base isn't really a base, and we'll see why in a very short amount of time.
Unit
Ready and moving out.
Not building captured. Building.
What I learned in the afterglow of beating this mission was that there's kind of a trigger
Building captured.
that the game sets upon itself.
Not building.
And if you happen to go into the trigger, the AI actually starts doing stuff.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Yes, sir.
So, what the fact suggested was to take that Chinook you have, which comes unloaded, and I think that's really dumb. It would have been really nice to, like, receive a couple, like, rocket soldiers, whatever.
Lost. Unit lost. Building.
Regardless, the fact tells you you should load up a couple units, or even just like use the Chinook, like without any sort of help, quote unquote, and kind of like just have it drop stuff off. Another thing that makes the fact that there's no AI at this point
Yo.
Ready and waiting.
has to do with the airstrikes. Also, that's really lame that
Building.
3 A10s just can't kill that.
Unit ready. Building.
Ready and waiting. Yes. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Come on.
Reporting. Reporting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ready and waiting.
Sometimes you just do stuff, and, like, you're on autopilot, and you don't, like, quite realize it. And then you just, like, look at the video, and you're like, why the hell did I not move the Chinook? It's faster. Why am I not moving the Chinook? I'll get there someday.
Yes, sir. Right away, swing out. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Waiting order. Right away, sir.
So because there's a trigger that causes the AI to actually start producing at some point, if you avoid it, it means that the AI doesn't do anything, and effectively becomes, as you can imagine, the easiest level in the game, and so on. This wasn't readily apparent to me. So, and there's nothing that really tells you this. You really have to dig into it, which obviously is cheating. I'm not going to look into this while playing necessarily. I won't look for a cheat strategy. I'll just look for a little bit of guidance in a fact. Anyways, so basically what I'm doing right now is not the way that the fact suggests. What it does suggest is obviously to get around the whole trigger that gives the AI the ability to produce anything.
Ready and wait. Swing out. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Got it. Yes, sir.
Primary building selected.
Oh yeah, and that screws me up a couple times when I just forget to reset a building.
Unit lost.
Roger.
Unit lost.
Swing out.
Now this location, this point in time, is a very reset heavy time. Oh yeah, and the thing bugged out again, so... Now technically there's no real reason to do, kill those turrets. You do want to block off the path, because if you don't, there's no real, location for you to be safe. But annoyingly, there's actually space for an SSM launcher to just show up and give you a hard time. So I know it was sped up, but basically what you want to do is you want to use your airstrike before you ever get into the middle base, and just drop it in either the top left or top right corner. The immediate effect is that you're going to destroy one of two construction yards. Now, if you trigger production, you have to be very careful. The reason is that if you don't do it fast enough, the AI will replace a construction yard, which is cheating. You can't replace a construction yard outright. You have to actually build an MCV, which the AI forgoes. So, hey, I'm just being as nice as the AI is. Anyways, this is what makes this level really hard, is that there's two bases for you to basically fight. You have no footprint, and there's no economy at your first base. There's enough to kind of get you going, but there's no follow through. So if you kind of don't do the sandbag thing, you usually die really quickly. The AI has also got a nice mix of units, so it's very hard to accommodate yourself, or build an actual unit composition that fares well against these guys. Also because of the fact that it's a nod on nod engagement, which is harder. Let's be honest. You don't have the really cool tanks that the GDI does, aside from the stealth tank, admittedly. But, there's a lack of, staying power with the nod vehicles. And again, I really am tired of seeing like them actually build stuff, so this is kind of what you have to do. There's a lot of saving and a lot of reloading. And I think at this point the video is sped up at like 1,000%, so. And yeah, just the fact that I have so few resources just means like I have to rely on a very small unit composition. Look, if you don't like this music sped up by 1,000%, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, the trick of using like bait and then the commando to rush in, obviously it's a very strong move. You always unfortunately run the risk of commando dying to any sort of infantry ever, so it's something to weigh, you know, the odds on. Or you could just build a ton of flame tanks and do it that way. And that closes out the Covert Ops side of the GDI missions. Stay tuned for the Nod stuff coming up soon enough.
Mission accomplished.